Today we're taking a look at where to find all unique items in Dawnshore and how to get them. This includes all weapons, armor, shields, gloves, boots, rings, amulets, and trinkets. And yeah, this is definitely going to be a lot, so let's not waste any more time, let's get right into it. First up, all unique weapons in Dawnshore. First one we're going to start off with is Anextli's Grimoire. This unique Grimoire comes with the spells of Fan of Flames, Arcane Veil, Grimoire Snap, and Missile Salvo. You can find this Grimoire just west of Barath's Gateway in Ivana's Threshold, right over here near the cemetery. When you approach the cemetery, you're going to find grave robbers lurking around the area, as well as a large lootable chest that you'll need a certain key to unlock. And luckily when we go to collect this Grimoire, we're also going to be collecting the Pyromancer's key that allows us to unlock this chest. So in order to find both of these, we're going to want to head behind the cemetery and eventually above it. So in order to do that, we're going to follow this path to the west that leads toward another area called Fractured Shore. Now try to keep as close as you can to the area where the cemetery was, so you're going to want to stick toward this left wall, while also moving upwards on this path and avoiding any enemies that are around the area. You can simply just jump up here and follow this path upward to avoid the Zarups that are over to the right. As you get toward the top of this pathway, you should eventually hear the crazed Pyromancer, or at the very least see the subtitles of his dialogue on the bottom. As you approach him, an explosion's going to go off, unfortunately leading to his end, but fortunately for us, allowing us to pick up the loot that he drops. Once you get to the edge of this cliff, you're going to find Anextli's Grimoire, as well as the Pyromancer's key, and a couple other items that you can pick up. Now you can just head back down to the cemetery, and use the key to open up the Pyromancer's chest. You can collect all that loot inside, and now you're going to have Anextli's Grimoire, which is one of the best unique Grimoires you can get early in the game. The next unique weapon that I personally think is one of the best in the entire game, and on my first run through I use from beginning to end, is the Drawn in Winter unique axe. This axe has two great abilities that you should definitely take advantage of both early and late in the game. Using power attacks with this axe deals moderate frost accumulation to nearby enemies, as well as plus 10% bonus frost damage on any hits that you deal. This is also one of the easiest weapons to pick up early in the game, because there's nothing that you need to do other than go to this one location and interact with an ancient memory. If you can find your way up to this axe, I recommend this being one of the first things that you do when you get to this region. In order to find Drawn in Winter, you'll have to go to the location called the Watcher's Mirror. You can find this area northeast of the city of Paradise, and along the easternmost part of the Rise, which you can see is the area right over here. You can follow the pathways on the eastern side of Paradise, and make things a lot easier by finding this fast travel beacon, as well as this party camp that you can set up and use as a fast travel point. From the party camp, if you just look over to the east, and follow this pathway straight through, you'll be able to walk right into the Watcher's Mirror. Now as of now you can't grab the axe yet, so you'll first have to go over to the edge where you'll see a giant cliff and some sort of fossils embedded in the mountain across this gap. Now you simply just want to interact with the ancient memory, and obviously you can choose any options that you see fit. It doesn't matter which options you choose, as either way you'll be able to finish it and acquire a godlike ability at the end of it. Now as the memory concludes, if you look behind you, in the little pond that we crossed in order to get to the ancient memory, you're going to see an ice block rise out from the pond with a weapon on top of it. As you approach it, you'll get the option to pick up the Drawn in Winter unique axe. However, before you pick it up, you're going to want to be aware that the second you grab it, multiple waves of skeleton enemies will spawn within the pond and begin attacking you. If you want to stick around and fight them, you absolutely can, but if you did this very early on, especially before upgrading your character, it may be best to just take the axe and get out of the area as soon as possible. Now if you happen to already be a level 5, then you can go into your ability section, and if you have an extra ability point, you can purchase the Shadowing Beyond ability that allows you to become invisible. Now this will drain your essence, but you'll stay invisible as long as you still have essence, or until your first combat action. So if you did have this ability, you could pick up the axe, use Shadowing Beyond, and then simply run out of here without having to worry about getting attacked. However, if you're not a level 5 yet, and you can't get this ability, then you can do exactly what I'm going to do, which is grab the axe, and as soon as you grab it, before those enemies come up and see you, you can go to your map and fast travel to the nearest location. It might be a little bit of a cheap way to do things, but it doesn't matter because once you get out of here with this weapon, you're going to be in possession of one of the best weapons you can possibly have. If you happen to fast travel back to your party camp, you can now go over to the stand where you can enchant your weapon. If you have the materials you need to enchant this weapon, you can already upgrade it so that power attacks now deal high frost accumulation to nearby enemies. And this is definitely something that'll come in handy later in the game. Alright, with that one done, we're going to move on to Caeroc's Pride, which is definitely one of the best unique pistols that you can get, especially early in the game. If we take a quick look at this pistol and its abilities, it first allows power attacks to deal high shock accumulation to the enemy that you're targeting, and it also deals plus 10% bonus shock damage to any hits that you deal. The main problem with getting this pistol is that you can only get it from defeating one of the bounty targets in Dawnshore. This particular bounty is for Tempestuous Luandi. Like I said, there's no requirements in order to get this weapon, so even before you do any of the main quests, you can still find this bounty target, defeat him, and pick up this pistol without having to actually collect the bounty from the bounty master in Paradise. In order to find this pistol and the bounty target Luandi, you have to look for this small island just southeast of Shantytown and directly below the Andra's Reach Beacon fast travel location. Now I won't lie to you, If you're not that high of a level, and you still haven't mastered using your companion abilities, it may be a bit difficult to defeat Luandi, and not so much because of his crew, because they should be pretty easy to take out, but because he himself, especially with his pistol, can deal some serious damage to you. So make sure you're careful when attempting to take him out. But if you are able to defeat Luandi and his crew, you can loot this unique pistol right off of his body, as well as go around this small island and collect a bunch of the loot that's here, like this small lockbox, as well as this small chest that contains a bunch of coins. The next unique weapon that you can get right away, and that's also one of the best early game weapons, is the Philosopher's Riddle, a unique greatsword that comes with the abilities where a full combo attack gives you plus 15% attack speed for 10 seconds, and that gives you plus 10% bonus poison damage for any hits that you deal. In my first run through of Avowed, this was the first unique weapon that I picked up, and I used it throughout the entire region of Dawnshore until I figured out how to get the Drawn in Winter unique axe, and the Last Light of Day sword, which is one that we'll talk about in a little bit. The Philosopher's Riddle Greatsword can be found at the top of Castle's Folly on the northwest side of the island. If you're not sure where this location is yet, it's this island right over here on the southeastern part of the map. In order to get there, you're going to have to start on the mainland and jump across these rocks in order to get to the island. Now it's really important to note that when you first go here, all the enemies on this island are going to be hostile. So if you want to deal with them, you can go ahead and take them all out. However, there's a much easier way to deal with them. Like I mentioned before, if you're already a level 5 by this point, and you're able to unlock abilities at the level 5 rank, then you can get the ability called Shadowing Beyond. This allows you to become invisible, so you can move around the map without being seen. Now if you want, you can use this ability to just go right at the sword, pick it up, and then jump into the water to leave the area, because you're not able to fast travel while on this island, at least until you make friends with the people that are here. Now like I said, although you can just get this weapon and leave, I find it much easier to go up to the top of the southern part of the island and speak with the crew members that are there. As long as you don't become hostile with them and tell them that you'll deal with their problem, then you'll be able to freely move around the island without any worries. So all those enemies that we were worried about are no longer going to be hostile towards you. So if you're using the Shadowing Beyond ability, you could simply go the direction I'm heading now, and then just follow the pathway to the left, and bypassing the enemies that are there, although you do have to be pretty quiet about it, and then you can make your way up to the top to talk to the crew. However, I found a bit of a glitch where you can get up to the top and speak with them without having to sneak by the other enemies on the left. If you just jump up over here and continue jumping until you find an area where you're able to get up onto the edge of this rock, you can then jump across to the wooden platform, and as soon as you approach the crew, whether you're invisible or not, it'll activate a cutscene. At this point, like I said, as long as you agree to help them with their problem, you're going to be good to go, and now you can walk around the entire island without having to worry about anybody attacking you. So now you can just drop down, go back off to the left, and make our way to the top of Castle's Folly by following this path here. And once you get up here, you're going to see this unique greatsword just sitting on its own, right here in this location. Once you collect that, you can actually go back behind here, go up these steps, and you'll find another chest in the back that contains an Audra piece. Like some of the other weapons that we talked about, if you take this weapon back to your party camp and check out the options to enchant it, there's a great option over here where power attacks with this weapon will deal both high bleed and stun accumulation. Stun accumulation is really important in this game because it allows for special attacks to take place. The next unique weapon that you can collect early in the game is the 7 Strivings unique Great Axe. The abilities that it comes with include killing an enemy gives you plus 15% move speed for 10 seconds, as well as a plus 5% critical hit chance. Now in order to collect this weapon, you will have to go to an area where one of the bounty targets is. However, you don't actually need to fight this bounty target in order to get this weapon. As I mentioned a couple times already, you can use the Shadowing Beyond ability to become invisible so you can creep around this area, pick up the weapon, and get out of there without having to fight the bounty target. The area that you can find this weapon, as well as the bounty target Ralga, is up here in the northernmost part of the Rise, at a location called the Falls. You can find this area east of the Pargron Cache, and northwest of the Shrine to Wotica. You can use this pathway here to sneak in from the back, so you don't have to go in from the left side where there's a Zarab camp guarding the entrance to Ralga's lair. If you go in from the right side, you can stay up above this area and map out exactly where you want to go. As you can see, I'm looking down on Ralga right now, and over to the right, you can actually see a body on the ground with the 7 Strivings unique weapon laying right on top of them. Now we're just going to wait for her to walk away, activate the Shadowing Beyond ability, drop down, and go right over and pick up the unique weapon. And if you think you can keep moving around here without being seen, there's also a chest in the back left corner, where if you just follow me over here, you can pick it up before your essence runs out, and fast travel out of here without causing any sort of chaos. Alright, and the last unique weapon you can get early in the game without having to fulfill any requirements is the Sheathed in Summer unique dagger. This dagger has an ability that a full combo attack deals moderate fire accumulation, as well as plus 10% bonus fire damage to any hits that you deal. Much like the electric pistol that we picked up earlier, in order to get this dagger, you're going to have to defeat one of the bounty targets. In this case, the bounty target is Octov the Firebrand. In order to collect it, you have to loot the dagger off of his body after defeating him. You can find Octov at the Godless Ruins, just southeast of the Strangle Root and across the river. It'll be right here in this location. There are a bunch of chests and other loot that you can collect in this area, so make sure after you defeat the bounty target and his crew, you search around and make sure you get everything here, and then of course make sure to pick up the unique dagger, Sheathed in Summer, off of Octov the Firebrand's body. Alright, for the next section, we're going to talk about unique weapons that you can get after completing at least the first main quest. Once you've completed the main quest, you're now going to be able to access the City of Paradise. So once you're able to go inside of the city, the first place we're going to go is here in Southern Paradise's Market District, and we're going to find this merchant, Marilyn. At her shop, you're going to be able to purchase Beotho's Grimoire, a unique grimoire that has the spells Corrosive Siphon, Arcane Veil, Parasitic Staff, and Blizzard. Like Anextli's Grimoire, this spellbook is especially effective early in the game, so if you think it's worth it to pick up, this is where you can buy it. The next unique weapon that you can purchase inside the city is actually going to be in Northern Paradise, or Paradise Hightown. The weapon that we're looking for is called the Disappointer, and it's a unique pistol. You can find this weapon at the merchant named Cuddy in the northwest section of Philosopher's Alley. He's going to be off in a back alleyway because his activities are a bit illegal. Once you check out his shop, you're going to see the Disappointer unique pistol right over here, and as you can see, one of its abilities will say minus 10% attack damage, while the other says plus 10% bonus bleed damage for any hits that are dealt. The minus 10% attack damage is a bit of a joke because the name of the pistol is the Disappointer, so it's a bit disappointing to see that it has minus 10% attack damage. However, if you were to purchase this pistol and then go to enchant it at your party camp, you'll be able to flip this minus 10% attack damage into plus 10% attack damage. And if you were to run dual wield pistols with both this and Caeroc's Pride, you'll be running around with two of the most powerful pistols in the game, especially this early on. Alright, and the last unique weapon that we're looking for in the City of Paradise can be found at the Militia Headquarters Merchant in the northeast part of Paradise Hightown, or Northern Paradise, near the Street of the Gods. And once you get here, you run over to the Militia Headquarters and speak to the merchant. In her shop, you're going to find the Long Touch unique bow. The first ability this bow has is plus 10% critical hit chance for power attacks while fine aiming, which is actually a really nice ability, and its second one is plus 5% damage against enemies with full health. So again, if you want to buy this unique bow, you can find it at the Militia Headquarters Merchant in the northeastern part of Paradise Hightown. And the last unique weapon that we're going to talk about is the Last Light of Day unique sword. Like Drawn in Winter and the Philosopher's Riddle, this is overall one of the best unique weapons in the game. It has an ability that when you kill an enemy, you restore 3% of your maximum health. So every time you kill an enemy, you're gaining health back. And on top of that, each hit deals plus 10% bonus fire damage. So in short, you're dealing fire damage to enemies and gaining health back each time you kill them. Now technically, the only requirement that you need in order to get this unique weapon is to complete the Dawnshore side quest. So while you don't technically need to have done the main quest in order to start this side quest, you still have to fulfill this quest itself in order to get this sword. So that's why I put this in a separate category altogether. I have a full breakdown of the Dawnshore side quest that goes much more into detail about how to complete it, how to get the Last Light of Day sword, and more importantly, all the different outcomes of the choices that you make during the quest. So if you want to go more in depth on that quest and how to get this sword, check out this video popping up on the screen, or find the link in the description. Otherwise, if you're just looking to get this sword, and you want to do it as soon as possible, you can start the Dawnshore side quest by doing two different things. If you've already completed the first main quest, Message from Afar, then you can find this side quest as an exclamation point right in front of the Adirian Embassy when you first walk into Southern Paradise. Otherwise, if you haven't already completed the first main quest, you can still start this side quest by simply going to the Northern Farms Beacon, and if you fast travel there, in front of you will be Zarups guarding a pathway called Pilgrim's Path. Once you clear them all out and follow Pilgrim's Path to the end, you'll eventually come to an area where you'll have to fast travel to the Aeothegan Temple, and this is where you'll complete the Dawnshore side quest in order to get the Last Light of Day unique sword. Like some of the others that we've discussed, once you acquire this sword, you can take it back to your party camp, and when you go to enchant it, you'll see there's an even better upgrade than it already has. Currently, killing an enemy restores 3% of your maximum health. However, you can enchant this weapon to allow it to restore 10% of your maximum health every time you kill an enemy. And that's why both now and later in the game, this is one of the best weapons that you can have. Now we're going to move on to all unique armor in Dawnshore. First one up is Stelgare's Pride. This unique armor piece comes with the abilities to cast Barbaric Shout when taking damage greater than 30% of your maximum health, as well as plus 5% stamina regeneration rate. If you haven't noticed already, there are 3 different types of armor. There's light, medium, and heavy armor, and each of them have their pros and cons. Stelgare's Pride falls under the category of medium armor, and because of its abilities, it's pretty versatile and is good for almost any playstyle. It comes with both decent damage reduction and maximum stamina and essence. So while it's not the most protective armor, it's also not slowing you up or making it difficult if you have a ranger or magic build. Stelgare's Pride is an armor piece that you can find on the intimidating feline codpiece treasure map, so if you happen to pick up that treasure map, you can use that to get an idea of where you can find this armor, or you can just follow me over here, and we're going to find this path just southeast of Watcher's Mirror and along the northeastern edge of the Yellow Band camp. Now just follow this path north all the way to the end, where you'll find some breakable wood and the chest containing this unique armor inside. Next, we have the Arcanist Gambison. This unique armor comes with the abilities of plus 15% area of effect damage, as well as plus 20 maximum essence. This is a light armor, which is very clearly best for a magic build. You won't get great damage reduction with this armor, but you will get higher maximum stamina and essence. To find Arcanist Gambison, you'll have to search inside of the building on the southeasternmost edge of the Yellow Band camp. You may have to take out a couple outlaws inside, but if you're stealthy enough, you won't alarm the rest of the camp, and you'll be able to find this chest and collect this armor without being caught. Next, we have the Steel Garrote Plate. The first ability this armor has is when taking damage greater than 25% of your maximum health, your attacker will receive 50% of the damage. And for its second ability, you get plus 1 Constitution. The previous two have been medium and light armor, but this one is very obviously heavy armor. So this is going to be best for a fighter build, and more specifically, close quarters combat. This armor has good damage reduction, however it does have lower maximum stamina and essence. To find this armor, you have to go to the entrance of the Ruinous Cavern, which you can find just outside of the western walls of Paradise, in the northeast part of Ivana's Threshold. Once you get deep enough into the cavern, you'll find yourself in a boss fight with a giant spider bounty target, and either during or after the boss fight, right in the middle of the fight area, you can loot this armor off a fallen Steel Garrote soldier. The next two armor pieces that we're going to talk about require that you at least complete the first main quest, Message from Afar, and that's because we need to access the City of Paradise in order to find these. The first one is called the Many-Hued Doublet. This unique armor comes with the abilities of minus 15% incoming fire, frost, and shock damage, as well as increasing your health restoration from all sources by 15%. This is a light armor piece that is best for either ranger or magic builds, and that's because it has poor damage reduction, but higher maximum stamina and essence. You can find the Many-Hued Doublet at the merchant named Marilyn in Southern Paradise's Market District. The next one is Wayfarer's Armor. This unique armor's first ability is that it slowly regenerates health while below 20% maximum health, and the second ability is plus 10% move speed. This is another type of heavy armor, however it's slightly quicker than the Steel Garrote Plate because of its plus 10% move speed ability. Of course, being heavy armor means it has good damage reduction, but it will have lower maximum stamina and essence. You can find this armor piece at the Militia Headquarters Merchant in the northeast part of Paradise Hightown, or Northern Paradise, just over here near the Street of the Gods. And the last unique armor piece in Dawnshore is the Blackwing Armor. This is different from all previous armor pieces that we've discussed, because in order to acquire this armor, you not only have to complete main quests, but you have to make a specific choice in which you end up choosing to kill one of the rebels during an untimely end main quest. And then afterwards you can loot this armor off of his body. If you choose not to kill the rebel, you will not have access to this armor. This armor's abilities are plus 30% stealth attack damage, as well as plus 25% move speed while crouched. This is a light armor, and is obviously best for a stealth build. It has poor damage reduction, but it does have higher maximum stamina and essence. Next up, all three unique shields in Dawnshore. Alright, so first up is Wind and Wave. This unique shield comes with the abilities of plus 10% move speed and plus 20% resistance to frost accumulation. The Wind and Wave unique shield can also be found on the treasure map Captain Henkwa's Spoils. So if you happen to find that treasure map and you want to use it as a guide to find this location, you can go ahead and do that, or you can just follow me to this location here, east of the old Pargrin Wall, and along this river just west of Paradise. This shield is actually well hidden, so in order to find it, you have to go underwater and find this small opening that you can swim through. You'll then resurface in a small cave where you'll find a chest and the Wind and Wave unique shield right next to it. This next unique shield we're going to talk about, Unflinching Duty, is one that can be found during the first main quest, Message from Afar. This unique shield's first ability is a 5% chance to avoid melee damage, and its second ability is plus 20 maximum stamina. During the main quest, you'll get to a point in the Strangle Route, you'll have to take out the Dream Thrall Elder Brown Bear, and then you can loot the fallen soldier in the middle of the room where that bear was standing. You'll see it right here at the end of this long bloodstain. And now the last unique shield will require that you completed the main quest that we just talked about, Message from Afar. And that's because you'll have to access the City of Paradise in order to find this shield. This unique shield is called Beetle's Bulwark. Its first ability is while below 75% maximum health, a successful parry summons a beetle to fight with you. And its second ability is plus 20% resistance to fire accumulation. To find this unique shield, you'll have to go to Northern Paradise, or Paradise Hightown, and find Sans' Emporium, and it'll be in the southeastern part of High Market. Go inside, speak to this merchant, and you can purchase this unique shield at his shop. Now we've got all unique clothing in Dawnshore, including both gloves and boots. First up are the Arcanist boots. For its abilities, it increases your health restoration from all sources by 5%, as well as plus 10% move speed. You can find these unique boots at the top of the lighthouse, just west of Clavider's Landing. All you have to do is scale the lighthouse, and at the top you'll find a chest with these boots inside. And a quick FYI, on the way up, you can also find a god totem piece inside of a crack in the wall that'll be towards your right on your way up the lighthouse. Next we have the Steel Garrote Gauntlets. Its abilities are plus 10% parry efficiency, as well as plus 20 maximum stamina. You can find these gauntlets just northeast of Shantytown and Andra's Reach Beacon, and it'll be over here along the Paradise City walls. you'll have to clear out both the outlaws and spiders in the area, and then afterwards, use your companion ability to have Kai burn away the spider web to reveal a small opening in the rocks where you can collect the gauntlets from this body. Then we have the Wayfarer's Boots. Its abilities are plus 10% resistance to poison and bleed accumulation, as well as slowly regenerating health while walking. You can find these boots inside of a chest in the Fellowship Harbor, and what you're going to want to do is look for 2 openings in the wall that are beneath the docks. From either direction that you go in, you'll have to clear out the enemies inside, and then you're going to want to use the westernmost opening, so the one right over here, to look behind this door where there should be an explosive barrel that you can shoot to unbar the door. You can then use the other opening to go back inside the room, and now you'll be able to open the door and find the chest with Wayfarer's Boots. Next we'll look at the Wayfarer's Gloves. Its abilities are minus 10% stamina cost while blocking, and power attacks deal plus 5% bonus fire damage. You can find the Wayfarer's Gloves at the Merchant Lina at Claviger's Landing, and it'll be this merchant right here in the middle of the 3. Next we have Arcanist's Gloves. Its abilities are plus 10% parkour speed and plus 20 maximum essence. You can find these unique gloves in a chest behind some breakable wood just southeast of the Shrine to Wotica. So as you approach the shrine, especially if you're coming from this direction in the south, you should see this breakable wood with the chest inside before getting to the shrine. Then we have Gloves of the Strangler. These unique gloves have the abilities of plus 3% critical hit chance and plus 15% stealth attack damage. You can find these gloves along the eastern side of Paradise, west of the Yellow Band camp, and northwest of the Usher's Hand. You're going to want to go all the way back against the high city walls of Paradise and all the way into this corner. On the right, you'll find a switch to activate this door and open up this secret room where you can find this chest inside with the Gloves of the Strangler. Then we have the Boots of the Bricklayer. Its abilities are plus 10% dodge distance and plus 15 carry capacity. You can find these boots near the top of the Pargrun cache. After you fight the waves of enemies in this area, you're going to go left behind this building where you'll find a breakable wall that you can use an explosive to get into, and then you'll find the chest with these boots inside. Next up are the Steel Garrote Boots. Its abilities are plus 5 carry capacity and plus 1 constitution. To get these boots, you'll have to go to the Zarup camp directly west of the old Pargrun wall, and there are going to be a lot of Zarups in this camp, so make sure you take all of them out before worrying about where these boots are. Assuming you've cleared out all enemies, head to the western edge of the camp, and you'll find the boots laying right in front of this hut where they can be looted off the Steel Garrote soldier's body. Unlike the previous clothing that we talked about up to this point, which had no requirements in order to find, these last 3 will require that you've at least completed the first main quest, Message from Afar. First up, we have the Hands Occult. Its abilities are plus 1% critical hit chance and plus 10% shock damage. You can find these gloves behind some breakable wood immediately upon entering the City of Paradise from its main entrance, where the Envoy's Bloodstain should still be. If you're standing near the Bloodstain, just simply make a right down this alleyway, passing these pillars and wooden barriers on your way until you see the breakable wood. Once you take it down, you'll see the chest inside that contain these gloves. Next, we have the Blackwing Boots. These unique boots come with the abilities of plus 10% dodge distance and plus 1 dexterity. You can find these boots at the Merchant Cuddy in Northern Paradise or Paradise Hightown. This merchant can be found in this alleyway in the northwest part of Philosopher's Alley. And the last unique clothing item in Dawnshore are the Blackwing Gloves. They have the abilities of plus 1% critical hit chance and plus 10% critical damage. Immediately upon entering the City of Paradise from the main entrance, again near the Envoy's Bloodstain, go left around the side of the Adirian Embassy and look for some wooden walkways that you can jump up onto, and they'll be just over here past these stairs. Climb up the tower until you reach this vantage point that faces toward where the Envoy was shot. Now just simply turn around and you'll find this backpack with the Blackwing Gloves inside. If it's daytime, it can be difficult to see if this backpack is glowing gold. And finally, we're going to hit on all unique accessories in Dawnshore, including rings, amulets, and trinkets. Alright, so one of the first unique rings that you can find right away is called Andra's Grace. You can find it behind this waterfall, east of the old Pargrun wall. It'll be right in this area where the waterfall and the river meet. You can then use the rocks, broken down bridge, and different platforms to make your way up to the higher level of the waterfall, then go behind it, and find Andra's Grace right back here. Once you collect it, you'll see that its ability is to slowly regenerate health while wet. Next, we have the Ring of Slow Essence. This unique ring can be found in a secret room just south of the location where we picked up Andra's Grace. If you stay up on the same level that we picked up the previous ring, and turn around, you can walk over to this area, turn left, and look for this statue. Now just walk up to the statue and interact with the lantern in its hand to activate this switch and open up this secret room. Inside, you'll be able to loot the Ring of Slow Essence, and its ability is to slowly regenerate essence. So this is a great ring to have early in the game, or really at any point, because you can use it to passively regenerate your essence over time. The next unique accessory is the Bitter Bonding Unique Ring. You can find this one on the ground in the northern part of Shantytown, just behind where this Paradise citizen is looking for it. You'll see them searching on the ground near this large grate, and if you turn around and take a few steps back, you can see this ring sitting in the dirt. Now because he's looking for it, you can give it back to him, but personally I don't think the reward is worth it, and you're better off keeping this ring for yourself, especially because of its bonus, which allows 1% of your attack damage to be restored as health. So especially early in the game, this is a really great ring to have. Next we have the Arcanist's Ring. This unique ring can be found in the southern part of Castle's Folly, after speaking with or fighting Captain Trevick and his crew. Once you've dealt with them, whether you fought them or agreed to help them, go straight behind them right over here and you'll find the ring. When you take a look at the Arcanist's Ring, you'll see that it gives you +1 intellect. Next we have the Wayfarer's Ring. This one can be found east of the Shrine to Woedica and south of Runyad's house, which of course is the Watcher's house in the northeast corner of the map. If you're heading up toward the Watcher's house, on the pathway leading toward it, you'll see 2 bears guarding a certain area on your left, and if you want you can fight them right there because the ring will be behind them in a small opening in the wall. However, I find it much easier to go around toward the Watcher's house, find this little vantage point that you can shoot down at the bears from. This way they're not going to be able to do any serious damage to you, and then after you're done picking them off, you can jump down and find the opening in the wall where the ring can be collected off of this body laying in a puddle. The Wayfarer's Ring has an ability that gives you +20% health and essence regeneration from potions and food. After that we have the Rathan Figurine. This unique trinket can be purchased from a merchant in Shantytown. As you can see, there are 2 merchants in this location, and you're going to want to look for the northernmost merchant, so this one right up here. If you were to buy this trinket, you'll be getting +10% fire damage as a bonus when equipped. And the last of the unique accessories that we can get without having to do any other side quests or main quests is the Steel Garrote Medallion. This unique amulet can be found inside of the Ruinous Cavern before encountering the spider bounty target. You can use this cavern entrance just northeast of Ivana's Threshold. Once inside, make sure to search around this area before heading down into the boss fight arena. If you follow me back here, you'll find the Steel Garrote Medallion that you can loot off of this soldier's body. Once collected, you can see that it gives you +1 resolve as a bonus. Alright, next we're going to talk about these unique accessories that you can only find during or after completing side quests. The first one up is the Vindictive Band. This side quest can be found immediately once getting off the boat at Claviger's Landing. Once you get off the docks, you'll see the merchants over to the left, and if you instead go to the right and speak to this woman right here, she'll ask you to investigate her cabin, and if you choose the right dialogue options at the end of the quest, you'll be rewarded with the Vindictive Band. Just make sure to tell her that she should try living with the Zara and to give that relationship a chance. Once collected, you'll see this ring has an ability that causes critical hits to deal poison damage. Next up is the Enchanted Solonet. You can acquire this unique amulet as a reward for doing the Lost Souls side quest. In order to complete this side quest, you have to speak with the citizen of Shantytown and collect his lost Solonets up on some of the higher peaks of the town. Once you collect all of them and you bring them back to him, he'll reward you with the Enchanted Solonet. This amulet gives you +20% currency when looting coins, so it's really good to have early in the game so you can build up some wealth even faster. Then we have the Fantastic Alembic. This unique trinket can be rewarded to you for doing the Precious Light side quest. In order to do this side quest, you have to go to Castle's Folly and speak with Captain Trevick and his crew. You have to agree to help them out with their problem, and then to ensure that you get this trinket, make sure to bring the Crate of Audra to the person in Paradise, and not to the captain. Once you complete that, he'll reward you with the Fantastic Alembic. Its bonus is that drinking a potion clears all of your accumulations. This is a really important accessory and can be useful throughout the entire game. You don't always need to have it on, but if you see that your accumulations are really high, for something like fire or poison, you can quickly equip this trinket, drink your potion to heal yourself and get rid of your accumulations, and then unequip it and go back to whatever you had on. Like I said, this is really useful throughout the entirety of Avowed. Alright, and the last accessory that you can only get from certain side quests is Delver's Caution. This is a unique ring that you get as a reward for doing the Dawn Treader side quest. This is a really long and important quest, so I'm not going to go too deep into it here, but I will link a video to a detailed breakdown of this quest, so if you want to get more in depth, you can check that out. Otherwise, at the completion of this side quest, you'll receive the Delver's Caution unique ring, and this one will have 2 bonuses, of which the first is +2 dexterity, and the second one is +15% parkour speed. Alright, and the last accessories we're going to discuss all require that the main quests in Dawnshore are either active or completed. So for the first one, the Band of Transcendent Suffering, this unique ring can only be found in Paradise, which means you'll have to have completed the first main quest, Message from Afar, in order to access the city. You can find this unique ring in Southern Paradise, right over here in this location, and it'll be inside of the canal in an underwater chest. Once collected, you can check out its 2 bonuses. The first will be +35% melee damage, while the other is -100% damage reduction. This is a really good accessory because it really enhances your melee damage. However, you do have to be careful because your damage reduction is essentially doubled in a negative way. Next we have the Night Mistress's Favor. This one is a reward for doing the side quest A Lady Never Tells. This side quest can be completed by collecting Juliana's shipment that's inside of the warehouse on the left when you first get to Claviger's Landing. There are many ways to get inside of here. You can either fight the people at the front and get the warehouse key, or you can sneak around back and open it with some lockpicks, but to me the easiest option is to sneak in from above without causing any chaos. Once you collected the shipment, you can head to the bathhouse in Paradise, and once you hand over the shipment to Juliana, and of course making sure you decide not to turn her into the authorities, you'll be rewarded with this unique trinket that slowly regenerates essence while close to a companion. Next we have the Kith Warder unique amulet. This one is a reward for completing all bounties in Dawnshore, and you must speak with the bounty master in Paradise's market district to collect this amulet. This one is especially good against Kith enemies because its abilities are plus 10% damage reduction against Kith, however it does have minus 10% damage reduction against all other sources. The next unique amulet is the White Key Cameo. You can find this one at Clavenger Edmund's estate during an untimely end main quest. You'll find it in a chest on the 3rd level of the estate, so in order to acquire this amulet, you have to get behind a locked door, and the easiest way to do it is to go outside and use these wooden platforms to find your way into the 2nd level, and then head up the stairs toward the right. Its ability is to restore 50% of your maximum health when reviving a companion. Alright, so those are all the unique accessories that you can collect in Dawnshore. Technically there is one more that you can collect in this region, and that's the Ring of Many Stars. However, the only way to collect this is getting it as a reward for completing the Mapping the Living Lands side quest. And of course, in order to finish this quest, you'll have to find and return all of Sansa's maps, which sadly cannot be collected until you've been to every single region. But once you've collected each map in every area of Avowed, you can bring those maps back to Sansa, and he'll reward you with the Ring of Many Stars, which has a unique ability that conjures magical homing projectiles that bounce between targets. Alright guys, so that was the entire list of all unique items that are in Dawnshore. Hopefully you're able to get your hands on some of these unique items, whether it be unique weapons and armor, all the way to unique clothing and accessories. All of these unique items bring along special abilities and bonuses that'll definitely be of some use to you at some point in the game. So whether or not you're going to equip these items is up to you, but at least collecting them, and even if you just stash them, will certainly be a positive, because even if you keep them stashed and never use them, you can always break them down at some point in the future to gain more Adra and upgrade materials that you can use on other items. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As usual, if you did, please drop a like and subscribe, because it really goes a long way to help me out, and more importantly, because I really appreciate it. But anyway, that's all we got for this video, and as always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.